The hospital monitor beeped rhythmically, a mechanical lullaby that did nothing to ease the storm inside me. My son Tyler lay motionless beneath a web of tubes and gauze, his 12-year-old frame pale against the sterile white sheets. His skull had been shaved and stitched after emergency neurosurgery. I hadn't left his side in 72 hours, not even to shower. That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered, my voice hoarse from crying and lack of sleep. "Is this Emily Carter?" a clipped voice asked. "Yes." "This is Alicia Gomez from Human Resources. I'm calling to inform you that your recent absence may be in violation of your contract. Unless we receive formal documentation by Monday, we'll have to initiate disciplinary review." My stomach dropped. My son is in a coma. I've already submitted hospital records. He was hit by a car. Alicia's tone didn't budge. "We'll note your comments, but policy is policy. Unapproved leave may affect your employment status." I opened my mouth to speak, but she had already hung up. I stared at the screen, stunned. Then, almost on cue, my personal phone vibrated again. This time it was worse. "Mom," flashed across the screen. Reluctantly, I picked up. "Emily," my mother's voice snapped through like ice water. "Vanessa's birthday dinner is tomorrow. You need to come early to help with setup." I blinked, certain I had misheard. "What?" "I need you here by 2. The florist's running late and we still have place cards to print." "Mom, Tyler is in intensive care. He hasn't woken up yet." There was a pause. "Yes, I know, but the nurses are monitoring him." "What good is you just sitting there? Your sister's event has been planned for weeks." I gripped the phone tighter. "He might not wake up." "He will. He's young, but life doesn't stop because of every little setback." Setback. That word was gasoline on a fire. "He has a traumatic brain injury," I hissed. "He's on a ventilator. He might never be the same again," she exhaled sharply. "This attitude is exactly why you're always in chaos. Vanessa never makes drama the center of her life." I bit down so hard I tasted metal. "Your sister deserves a celebration. Just show up. Make an effort for once." "Make an effort?" My voice trembled. "I've been sleeping in a hospital chair, Mom. I haven't changed clothes in 3 days. My son could die." She scoffed. "You're being hysterical again. Just for once. Be a part of the family instead of isolating yourself. Your father and I are not going to keep supporting you if you insist on this rebellion." I froze. "Supporting me?" "We've helped you with rent, with Tyler's tuition fund. That's not nothing." "And always with strings attached," I snapped. "You remind me every chance you get how much I supposedly owe you." "This is your last warning," she said, voice going cold. "If you don't show up tomorrow, don't expect another dime. The college fund? Gone. The emergency support? Gone. You think you can survive on your own? Try it." My hands were shaking. Not from fear, but fury. "I'm not coming," I said quietly. "Don't test me, Emily." I looked at my son, bandaged, still, fighting for his life. "I'm not testing anyone. I'm protecting my child, and I'm done." Without another word, I ended the call. My fingers hovered over her contact, and then, with one swipe, I deleted her number. Gone. The silence afterward was terrifying and freeing all at once. Susan, the night nurse, peeked in. "Everything okay?" I forced a breath. "Not yet, but it will be." As I turned back to Tyler, the monitor suddenly let out a soft ping. Nothing drastic, but something had shifted. A pressure reading, a heart rate change. I stared at it. Hope or false alarm? Either way, I wasn't leaving. If you've ever been dismissed after giving your all, by family, by work, by anyone, type 1, you're not alone. When the hospital Wi-Fi finally stabilized, I checked my inbox. The first email hit me like a punch to the ribs. Subject: Final notice, disciplinary action pending. Dear Ms. Carter, due to failure to provide HR-approved documentation for your continued absence, your employment status is now under formal review. Pending verification, your position will be considered abandoned as of Monday. I stared at the screen, pulse pounding. My stomach twisted. I had sent medical documents. Twice. Another ping. A text from Vanessa. Can't believe you're still not coming. At least send a gift. Tyler wouldn't even know you're gone. I clenched the phone, jaw tight. Then came another from Mom. We all have our battles, Emily. Don't expect the world to stop for yours. I turned the phone over and let it drop into my lap. Tyler's vitals remained stable. Not improving, but not worse. Still sedated, still silent. A storm with no warning. I sat beside him, fingers curled in his hand, watching for the tiniest twitch, a flicker of eyelid, a sign he was still in there. The curtain of the ICU room rustled. Grace stepped in, my coworker, unofficial best friend, and now the only person keeping me tethered. I brought you fresh clothes, she said gently, placing a tote beside the chair. And something from the staff. She handed me a sealed envelope. Inside, a printed petition signed by 12 colleagues, a letter of support to the board. I also spoke to HR, Grace added. Alicia's pushing hard to replace you, claims you've been volatile and unreachable. I blinked. She told me I violated policy, but I've sent everything. Grace nodded. I think she wants you out. She's been eyeing your role since you were promoted. A wave of betrayal swept through me. I'd covered Alicia's sick days. I'd mentored her, and now she was circling like a vulture. My hands shook slightly. I have nothing left to give them. You have your name, your work record, the truth. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. This time it was my father. I answered softly, Dad? I'm in the car, he said, with your mother and Vanessa. We're picking up the cake now. Any chance you've reconsidered? I felt the tears burning. No, I haven't. Tyler hasn't woken up, and I'm not leaving him. A pause. Your mother's upset, Emily. You know how she is. I don't care how she is. My voice cracked. I care that no one, has even asked how Tyler is. All I get are demands to smile for photos. That's not fair. No. What's not fair is expecting me to play Daughter of the Year while my son might wake up alone in a cold ICU. He sighed. I'll try to come later. Don't, I said quietly. Enjoy the party. I hung up and shut the phone off entirely. Grace sat beside me. You okay? I wiped my face. I'm not, but I will be. She nodded. That's enough. Hours passed. The nurses adjusted meds. Monitors beeped. Tyler didn't move. I spoke to him like I always did, telling him about the science kits we'd ordered, how the cat back home was probably destroying the couch. At 5:35 p.m., just as Vanessa's birthday dinner would have started, I noticed Tyler's right finger twitch. I froze. Another twitch. Tyler? I leaned forward, voice trembling. It's Mom. I'm here. His eyelids fluttered, then stilled. A nurse entered, checking the monitors. Brain activity's up slightly. Let me page Dr. Patel. As I waited, I remembered the envelope Alicia once left on my desk. Unsigned. A memo draft. Subject line. Reassigning Carter's duties during extended absence. The date matched the day after Tyler's accident. They weren't waiting to fire me. They'd already started. Outside, the hallway was quiet. Inside, I felt a shift. I had fought through grief, criticism, judgment. I'd held the line when every voice around me told me to fold. But the real battle, it was just beginning. If you've ever been gaslit, guilt-tripped, or sidelined during your hardest season, type 2. We see you, and we believe you. The email arrived at 7:04 a.m., just as I finished helping Tyler sip water through a straw. Subject: Termination of employment. Effective immediately. Dear Ms. Carter, we regret to inform you that, due to prolonged unapproved absence and failure to comply with documentation policies, your employment with Brookridge Academy is terminated, effective today. Sincerely, Alicia Gomez, HR Director. I read it twice. Then a third time. My fingers trembled, but not from shock, from rage. They had waited until a Monday morning, just like she promised. I glanced at Tyler, eyes still heavy from sedation, voice still a whisper, but very much awake. Bad news? He asked, his voice raspy. I forced a smile. Just Work stuff. We'll talk about it later, Grace called as if on cue. I saw it, she said without greeting. It's retaliation, plain and simple. We warned them. They ignored it. Can we fight it? I asked, clutching the phone like a lifeline. I'm already talking to legal, she replied. You have a strong case. Let me handle Alicia. You handle your son. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. 30 minutes later, my mother and Vanessa showed up again. No warning, no call, just walked in like nothing had ever happened. Barbara was holding a gift bag. Vanessa carried a framed family portrait, the one I had refused to pose for. This is not the time, I said, standing between them and the bed. We need to talk, my mother said, her tone clipped. Privately. I'm not leaving him. Then I'll say it here, she said, stepping closer. You've humiliated this family. Your behavior has consequences. You mean consequences like deleting my name from the will? I shot back. She blinked. You heard. Dad told me, and I'm fine with it. Vanessa scoffed. You always play the victim. You think this makes you strong? All it makes you is poor and bitter. I took a step forward, lowering my voice. You're right about one thing. I am done playing. I'm done begging for approval, for money, for a place at the table. I built my own table, and you're no longer invited. My mother's face turned to stone. You're making a mistake. No, I replied. I made the mistake of tolerating this for 35 years. Vanessa interjected, clearly rattled. We just wanted to visit Tyler. Then you can follow the rules. 5 minutes, quiet, supportive, no lectures, no manipulation. My mother opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. One more thing, I added. He doesn't know about any of this. If you bring it up, even hint at it, you will not see him again. That's not a threat. That's a boundary. They looked stunned. I didn't care. After 5 stilted minutes of staged grandmotherly concern and a few awkward words from Vanessa, they left. Tyler glanced at me. Why'd they look like they just got scolded? I smiled faintly. Because they did. He reached for my hand. Thanks for protecting me, Mom. You're my whole world, I whispered. And I'm going to protect you from everything, even if it means protecting you from family. The room was quiet for a moment. Then he whispered, Do we still have money for college? My throat tightened. We'll figure it out. Scholarships, work study, whatever it takes. He nodded. I'll help. Later that evening, a nurse knocked gently on the door. Delivery for Ms. Carter. I signed the form and took the package. A certified envelope. Return address, L. Cunningham, Estate Law. I opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a legal notice confirming our removal from the Carter Family Trust. But that wasn't the shock. A second document had been included labeled Addendum B, Emergency Amendment Request, dated 5 years ago, signed by my father only. Clause 14. In the event that Barbara Carter is found to have used financial coercion against Emily Carter or her son Tyler Carter, all funds will be transferred solely to Tyler's educational guardian, regardless of marital standing or family status. I stared at the page, reread it. My father had tried to protect us, quietly, in his own way. This wasn't just an ending. It was a reset. If you've ever stood your ground against the people who were supposed to support you, type 3. Sometimes protecting your peace is the bravest thing you'll ever do.